our Almighty God, Creator of heaven and earth, Father and lover of our soul, you sit on your throne of mercy and rule with your love and faithfulness. You are full of grace. We acknowledge your presence in our lives. Nothing is hidden in your eyes, even our challenges and struggles in life. We come to you with faith. We ask not only for our daily spiritual bread, but to seek your forgiveness and undeserving favor to heal our land, our family members, our friends and neighbors, even our enemies with COVID-19 and other diseases. Holy Spirit, help us to deepen our faith and see the opportunity to believe, obey, and worship. As we face this pandemic, you are Lord and God. Encourage us and change our hearts, not to fear, but to be full of hope and find ourselves praying and meditating your word. We believe no works of the enemy prosper to your children. Abba, Father, we believe that your Son Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior. He is the truth and our salvation. Hear our prayers, O Lord, and most of all, not our will, but thy will be done. We pray this in Jesus' name, the name above all names, who was and is to come. Amen.
Naghahatid saya sa mga Pinoy, mga kanta at programang Tatak Pinoy. Napapanood at napapakinggan kahit saan ka man. Streaming worldwide. In South Manila, this is V81 Radio.
Malayo ka man sa iyong pamilya, dito ay hindi ka nag-iisa. Tiyak ito'y iyong hahanap-hanapin, dahil ito ang nagpapasaya sa atin. Kahit nasaan ka man, ito'y mapapakinggan. Dahil mahal namin
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program anchors and producers and do not necessarily reflect the policies and position of this station. We now bring you the program that brings together leading personalities, representative insights, all together in a meaningful and delightful conversations as your social barometer. Let's chat with Tita Gracie. Let's chat with Tita Gracie, hosted by breakthrough millennial boomer Gracie Valenzuela, only here on V81 Radio.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Let's Chat with Tita Gracie. It's Sunday once again, and today we are going to feature a guest who is no stranger to the artistic world here in the country. He has been involved with several major artistic institutions, including the Cultural Center, and he was once the artistic director of Tanghalang Pilipino. He is also very active with the technical theater group, PATDA, and with Phil Stage. I think he's the acting president of Phil Stage. And at the same token, he's also very involved with the Artist Welfare Project, as well as the NLEC, or the National Live Events Coalition Group, which was just organized a few weeks ago at the onset of this pandemic. Now, our guest has also been involved in honing and training a lot of young people because he is currently on top of the theater arts program of the Meridian International College of Business and Arts, or popularly known as MINT College. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'd like to introduce my guest for this evening, Mr. Dennis Marasigan.
Hi, Gracie. Good evening to you and to your audience on this platform. I'm very privileged to have been invited to join you. Salamat sa pag-imbita sa akin.
The pleasure and the honor is mine, Dennis. And as you know, this show goes into all the sectors of arts. And tonight, what we're going to take a look at is the field of arts education. At kung relevant pa ba to at this time of pandemic? Sa totoo lang, I believe it's more relevant now than ever before because I cannot imagine having gone through the first few months and even up to now without artistic productions, without literature online, without films, without the entertainment provided by our fellow artists.
Yeah, that's true. I think that practically everybody they're able to go through and survive this pandemic through the arts by finding refuge in whatever artistic products that they are able to get their hands on.
Now, I know that you are one of the busiest guys right now in the industry. But naging busy ka pa yata ngayon during the pandemic. So, what happened when the pandemic hit? How was the impact on your very busy schedule?
Actually, that weekend that that it was clear, it was becoming clear that the pandemic was going to hit us. It has been announced at the time, but the quarantine had not been announced. But that week, I remember we started going online for our classes in Mint College, and then on that weekend when the quarantine was announced, I was supposed to watch several plays in Metro Manila as part of another one of the hats that I'm wearing. I'm supposed to wear many productions. I'm supposed to watch many productions. And that
Yes.
weekend alone, I was supposed to watch four. So
Oh
I
my.
remember on that Thursday, we were able to watch the press preview of one of the plays, Repertory Philippines, Anna and the Tropics. And then the
Yes.
following night, I was supposed to go and watch the band's visit. And then over the weekend, productions in Ateneo and other places. And then quarantine was announced. And so first is that immediately, one of the saddest things is that 28 productions were canceled or postponed that month
Wow.
alone. And then after that, of course, the rest of the year, then it was announced that all the other productions are either going to be canceled or at the very least postponed. And then Mint College went online. But after a couple of weeks, we realized that, and I just experienced it a few minutes ago before we went on air, certain places in the country, and sometimes it's even in within Metro Manila, we have problems with connectivity, and so students had a hard time connecting to the internet. So we came up with the decision that we were going to have to stop and cut the semester at where we stopped. Although students have the option of, say, completing the requirements if they want to work for a higher grade than what their standing was at the time that the classes were cut off. So that's what we did. So for those who were unable to complete the course, then it was just a pass or fail option. And then for those who wanted to have a numerical grade, then they were asked to complete the minimum basic requirements that were adjusted for each
Yes.
course depending on the requirements.
Yes, actually, the pandemic hit us when the school year was about to close. No, so a lot of students were already preparing for their final project or final exams. No, when it came
Ah,
in.
not actually, it was because of a revised calendar for tertiary education, for higher education schools like ours. We were in the middle of the second semester
Oh,
because the
okay.
second semester was January to May. So we
All
had
right.
actually just finished midterms, and then
Wow,
the
talk
week
about the
after,
disruption.
yeah, so that's why, in a sense, at least midterms had passed, so that we were able to decide that, all right, your midterm grade can be your midterm standing. So if
Yes,
you're in a passing standing in midterms, then you can just have a pass grade, and then that
yes,
pass or fail is not going to be computed in consideration of like your honors or your standing if you're in for scholarship. So that's the decision that our school, Mint College, decided to do.
yeah. Now I know that you are very much involved in as the head of the theater arts program of Mint. In our next segment, we're going to deep dive into your role as the head of the theater arts division. But before we go on our first break, I just want to find out the disruption that the pandemic gave all of us in the industry, in the arts industry, is really very, very difficult because, as you said, 28 productions had to stop. And a lot of our colleagues have no work, and all the artists are, no have no shows. So I hope and pray that some way, somehow, the efforts that the Bayanihan and all the fundraising activities, were you involved in that at all? And how is the NLEC uh, working to get our industry, to pump prime our industry at the very least?
Uh, the NLEC PH or NLEC PH was a coalition that suddenly had to come together primarily because of what happened. No? And it actually was rather late before that organization got started. It was only on April 30 that the organization got together, and it was out of a need to represent many of those who were in the live events industry who were
Yes,
left out primarily because of course their means of livelihood had to stop. Second is because they were not organized, and many of the members of our industry are freelance workers,
yes,
and
freelance.
you know that under the regime that our government has in terms of government benefits and all that, freelance workers are in a separate category outside of the ambit of the normal welfare benefits that regular workers can get. So
True,
it suddenly became necessary for everybody to come together and to figure out a way to help those who were more adversely affected, to those who had less ways of coping for themselves.
true. And I'm part of that group. I'm a freelance event organizer, and it's really difficult, and we have to find a way. We cannot just sit back and think that our events industry is going to be the same. It's going to be a long time before our usual professions get back on track and our clients resume their events plan. But now there is a need to retool and think that think of a new way to either express our technical or our artistic proficiency and skills, because it cannot be the same as before. With this platform that we have, which is the digital platform, I find that there's a lot of retooling needed in order to go ahead.
Yeah, at the very least, and there have been adaptive mechanisms that
Yes.
we've needed to figure out and to learn and to utilize in this particular instance.
Yes, and what's interesting is that I think the creative spirit and the drive of the Filipino arts, as well as everybody involved in the theater industry, the artistic industry, there is still that energy and that drive to find a way to cope and adapt, no, during this pandemic, which somehow we're a resilient bunch, and I'm still very hopeful that a lot of good will come out of this collective experience.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, anyway, friends, don't go away. We're just starting this interesting chat with our guest, Dennis Marasigan. We'll be right back. And when we come back, we're going to deep dive into his role as the head of the theatrical program at Mint College. See you in a bit.
We'll be back shortly with Tita Gracie. Let's chat with Tita Gracie, only here on V81 Radio. Connected ka na ba para laging updated sa mga bagong shows, promos, trending news, viral videos, events, o patok na OPM hits? Just follow us on Facebook at V81 Radio South Manila. Simple lang, itype lang ang letter V81 Radio South Manila. O, di ba madali lang? Kaya i-like at i-follow na. May items ka na gustong ibenta? Or planning to buy something specific? Visit PinoyAds.ph, a free online classified ads na available to all. Post an ad para sa item that you want to sell. Or browse through the listing to find out what you're looking for. Connect with the community to explore, discover, buy and sell. Be the boss of every transaction sa PinoyAds.ph. After this pandemic, let's support the Filipino community. Buy local, visit local, go local. Para enjoy ang pakikinig sa V81 Radio kahit saan, we are now on your Amazon Echo devices. Just say, Alexa, play V81 Radio at i-enjoy ang inyong mga paboritong Pinoy music 24/7. Sabihin lang, Alexa, play V81 Radio. Doble ang saya sa Season 2 ng Home Not Alone, Songs from Home dahil makakasama natin ang top OPM artists from GMA Music. Anthony Rosaldo, Christopher Martin, Sams David, and Golden Cañedo. Kaya tumutok na tuwing Miyerkules alas 7 ng gabi California Time o tuwing Huwebes alas 10 ng umaga Philippine Time. Home Not Alone, Songs from Home, Season 2. Kasama si Papa Gio. Ako yun. Sa August na, dito lang yan sa V81 Radio, Los Angeles.
Oh, not alone. I am here with you. Though you're far away, I am here to stay. Oh, not alone.
Now back to Let's Chat with Tita Gracie, only here on V81 Radio.
Okay, and we're back, and tonight we are very honored to have the head of the Theater Arts Division of Mint College as our guest. So let's call back Mr. Dennis Marasigan.
Hi again, Gracie.
Okay. Alam mo naman itong Let's Chat with Tita Gracie, ay madami tayong followers sa mga OFW communities, sa Amerika, sa Middle East, in different parts of Asia. So, hopefully, malaman nila ang sitwasyon right now sa arts education. Kasi alam naman natin na ang dami-daming youth, Filipino youth, that are very talented, very creative. Nakita naman natin yan, di ba, sa CCP, sa Virgin Labs, sa Cinemalaya. Ang dami-daming mga bata ngayon na very talented at very interested to learn the rudiments of the theater craft. So, ano ba ang basa mo sa mga Gen Z, Generation Z Pinoys who are into the world of theater and want to carve a creative path, no? A path.
Basing it from my students, no, I can tell that they are the ones that we have in Min College are very dedicated and very eager to learn and very eager to apply what they have learned into real life situations. So, in fact, even during this pandemic, they've been busy organizing online productions, reaching out to other organizations even outside of the school, trying to share what they know, share what their talents with other students and with other institutions with regard to what they know about theater and and also what they intend to and want to learn about it.
Yes, and it's very interesting kasi right now, ang daming avenues for creative expression. Not just in theater, in film production, in writing, in dance, in music. And somehow, with this pandemic, people all over the world can now access the creative product, no, of our youth. Because, like, for instance, Virgin Lafes, you can already log on and watch all of the plays. Cinemalaya just concluded the festival. So I think this really is a new paradigm, no, in creative expression, and for the youth, for the students, this poses a unique challenge. No? Now, on the other side of the fence, no, let's take a look naman at the academe, kayo, the teachers in the what kind of adjustments did you have to make? Because all of a sudden, all of the courses now had to go online.
Right, right. That's true. So, one of the things that I think, in a sense, Mint College was prepared already was because of the orientation and the pedagogy that the school was already using and in place. Even as early as last year, we already had an online learning platform that we were using for all our classes. So, for example, we're using Google Classroom. So, we've had teachers already using Google Classroom as a means to have the assignments of their students submitted, grading requirements, so that it becomes the hub of all activities that the teacher and student are supposed to have in within the actual classroom. We've been trying to go to a paperless system for a number of years, and so Google Classroom was providing that for us. So when the pandemic struck, it was just a matter of switching it on and saying, "All right, we're going now to online teaching." We just use the same platform we had been using, and the only thing was that we were going to use it as a regular avenue rather than before, when it was as a support mechanism for face-to-face actual classroom experience. And
Yes.
then, when it became clear that this semester we really have to to do everything online, then it was a matter of retooling the teachers so that they are able to change the manner of delivery of their learning instructional materials purely online. And the other thing that we decided in Mint was that while learning is going to be done online, it was also given to the option of the students whether they wish to go online or not. Meaning to say that
Oh,
learning in learning materials had to be delivered to and made available to the students, and then the face-to-face interaction, well, face-to-face through online interaction with the teachers,
yes.
was actually optional. And so that
Okay.
meant also that the teachers had to pre-package their instructional materials, give it to the students in advance. All the quizzes had to be done on the learning system. All the assignments have to be done on the learning system. Uh, the students who had actually more facility with it than some of the teachers already knew how to submit their requirements using the learning system. And so it just became more of like, imagine that if this were not pandemic, if you were to take a course, for example, in an international university outside of the Philippines, that was how learning was going to be. You don't really meet the professor. You're going to able to view a series of videos probably, and all the readings will be made available to you so that you can actually take the lesson online at your own pace. So we were really prepared for the buzzword of asynchramatic learning, no, so that
Right.
asynchronous learning, so that
Asynchronous learning.
so that the students can actually uh, take his time depending on his ability to communicate through the internet or to connect with the internet, as long as the deadlines are clear when the student output is going to be submitted. So it really also became a challenge for the teachers, and we had a series of like workshops and in fact for the theater arts, I had a whole faculty meeting just devoted into going through the nitty gritty of how to log in into the classroom, how to create learning materials, how to grade, how to create rubrics, and all of that. The bigger challenge, though, is I'm sure you can imagine, Gracie, is that theater arts being what it is. There are
Yes.
certain courses that are preferably done on a personal, person to person, face to face
Right.
basis, where if not the teacher, at least the students who are working together should be in the same place. So what we had to do also was we had to look at our curriculum and decide which subjects we would prefer not to be offered this semester, knowing that we will all be online. And then we hold out the hope that next semester probably there will be a chance, no matter how
Yes.
remote it is, that we can have face-to-face actual classroom interaction, and then move those subjects to the second semester and see whether it's entirely possible. But at the same time, it gives us also time to determine and to figure out how we are all going to change the learning delivery system for those particular classes in case the situation continues and we continue to be completely online in the second semester. And these are
Yes.
courses like acting,
Yeah.
improvisation,
Right.
directing, where you need to have student interaction. So we set that aside. We're trying to see whether things will be better in the second semester. But at the same time, our teachers are also exploring possibilities of how to do these classes in case we have no choice, and that we will have to still completely go online. Now, I'd like to say something about our students in Mint. One of the things that we were worried about, and which is because it was a reality that we had to face, was that some teachers, or I mean some students and probably their parents, would decide to what we call an opt-out year, so that they might decide not to enroll this year or this semester, for fear that the learning delivery systems is not worth their students' time, their children's time, or the money that they're going to pay
Yes.
for enrollment. But we're glad to note that for at least for the theater arts program, we practically had 100% of our students come back to for this semester. Of course, with a few exceptions, with those who actually transferred schools, and but generally the ones who stayed, that we know that actually stayed in school, we were able to retain, and so we're still doing full load as far as this semester is concerned. The other
Yeah.
change that we had to do, though, is that instead of doing you know how it was when you were in college, you have 6 or 7 subjects for one semester, right?
Right.
So what we did right now, and I understand that some schools are also doing this, we decided to divide our semester into 2 quarters, so that you only have to worry about and to take 3, at most possibly 4 subjects per quarter. and then effectively the semester is over for those 4 subjects, and then to tackle 3 or 4 other subjects the next quarter. Of course, that means that we're compressing the 18 weeks that normally makes up the semester into 9 weeks, but that means also that at least the student will only have to worry about 3 subjects or 4 subjects at a time, rather than to worry about 6 or 7 subjects that he has to try to cope with during the pandemic.
Yes, and I think that you have now established your school's new normal, if not the new normal, in arts education, because everybody had to adjust. And the
Right,
good thing is that you were already retooling yourselves as early as last year, because I think
right.
without the pandemic in the picture, you guys already had an inkling that the digital space is really the new frontier of learning, and to incorporate that into your whatever strategic plan you had for the school, because there are already benchmarks in international or in other campuses abroad. So
Yeah.
those
Also,
benchmarks, yeah, go ahead.
yeah. The thing about Mint is that from the time that it was started, we were not the school was not in the normal mode. It was not in
Okay.
the what some educators would call the didactic pedagogy,
Yes.
whereby the relationship is teacher student, or that the learning is centered upon the teacher, or that the arrangement of classroom is focused towards the teacher. If you go to the first campus that Mint College had in Taguig, for example, you will find that in certain classrooms we had bean bags instead of desks and tables. So the students can actually just lie down and sit down on the bean bags. Uh, Many of our classrooms are configured in such a way that you might think you're in a canteen, because it's like 4 tables with 4 chairs each. So the even the dynamics of interaction is not just teacher student, but can be student to student. So we were in the sense already into that what some people might call the progressive pedagogy, where learning is not centered on the teacher. The teacher, in effect, helps the student discover things for themselves. And I'm just lucky that in theater arts, that's exactly what we do when we're doing theater.
Yes.
It has
Yes.
the inputs of the students are as important as what the teacher does, and in most cases, in many subjects, the role of the teacher is to guide along or to coach, but the self discovery that students make in the process is very important in the theater training.
Yes. So that new way or very novel approach to your system, to the Mint system, has probably attracted a very unique crop of students, or maybe they were looking for something different from the ordinary or the usual, the mainstream universities that we have here, because there are a number of universities and colleges that are also offering the same courses. However, in Mint, I think you have injected a new game plan in terms of offering a different student experience. Kumbaga sa marketing, yung user experience, no, what we
Right.
call UI UX. No, the user experience is now so important. But you guys have already been a step ahead of the other institutions in terms of enhancing the student experience or injecting something different and something new to the student learning experience.
That's what I'd like to think, and that's I think that many of us in Mint would like to think that way too. And somehow it's been also validated by the feedback that we get from students who enter Mint, and the parents who we talk to when they want their students to get to Mint. And the thing that most often than not, the statement that we get from them is that they got interested in Mint in the first place, or that they decided to put their students, or the students themselves decided to go to Mint because they heard it was different and they saw that it was different. So in that sense, I think that I mean, without saying that we're better than other schools, is I think at least it makes us different.
Yes, I think the differentiation strategy is quite interesting in terms of your approach to arts education. And it's really thinking out of the box and not really changing the game all that much. Because I think in terms of theory and in terms of the actual the practice, no, imparting the practice and the discipline of theater arts, but it's the approach, it's the atmosphere, it's the experience. Because school is really an immersive experience. No,
Right.
and when you go to school, you're immersed. When you enter, you're in a whole new world, which is removed from the outside world, and there your focus is on learning. But
Yeah.
the learning experience is your delivery. The atmosphere really counts a lot because there are companies, for instance, if you take a look at some companies, the employee experience is different now because instead of having cubicles, now it's open plan, and there are yoga rooms, there are shared spaces for dining and socializing and interaction. And your school seems to be, in terms of providing that unique learning atmosphere,
Yeah.
has caught the eye of a lot of our creative youth.
Also, Gracie, you mentioned something about the marketing experience. No, I'm going to name a few names with you, and then let's play a game. I mean, I'll mention a few names. You tell me whether you know them. All right? Okay. Nelsito Gomez.
Okay, I've heard of
You
him. I've never met him, but I know who he is.
right? He's an actor, right? Okay. Paulo
Actor,
O'Hara.
yes.
Paulo O'Hara.
Oh,
You
yung
know,
anak ni
right?
Mario.
No, pamangkin ni Mario.
Pamangkin ni Mario, okay?
Right? Okay. You know Ding Dong Rosales, who's with Spit, Silly People's Improvisational
The
Theater, right?
improvisation theater.
Right. Okay. And then who else? Maynard Peñalosa.
Of
This
course,
actor,
Maynard Peñalosa, yes. I
right?
know him.
Okay. Oh, you know him. Let me add a few more names. Well, you don't know her, but like Dominique La Victoria just came back from her studies abroad with a master's in dramaturgy and playwriting. Now, the reason I'm mentioning all these names are these people are in my faculty, Gracie.
Wow!
These people are in my faculty. So the faculty of the theater arts program in Mint actually is composed of people who are actual practitioners, and not only practitioners, but aside from being practitioners, they are very good teachers. So what the students
Yeah,
are getting are not only, again, going away from the didactic pedagogy of teacher telling this is that. You actually get practitioners who are also used to the collaborative environment of an actual theater production, and bringing with them the experience that they've had with their in their work. So like Maynard Peñaloso does a class, and then this weekend I remember one time last year, um, then the students see him in drag in Mabining Mandirigma in uh, in CCP, right? Or they see Nelsito Gomez in a musical in with Atlantis, and then so forth and so on. So we are able to get to bridge, and so the students, in a way, even if they're still students, are able to see where they're going to be after they graduate. And in fact, what we're happy right now is that some of our students have been invited. One of my students just told me, um, she was well. First is that one of the plays that she did, and she did it in my playwriting class, was actually invited to be performed in a online festival in UP. And then she just messaged me that because of that experience and the connection that she had, she has also been invited to direct another play for online. So it's they're getting their feet wet. They're getting literally outside of the classroom, even
yes.
while technically they're still students.
That's fantastic. And I really appreciate the fact that you have actual practitioners as
Practically
yeah,
practically all of our faculty members in theater arts are active practitioners in the industry.
fantastic. Yeah. because I remember when I was still teaching events management in LaSalle, and I pioneered that course in TAF, no, in the marketing department. I was the only one in the events industry teaching events management course under the marketing curriculum. Because back then there was no courses on events
Right.
management, and
Right.
students really appreciated it because they would attend events, they would attend productions. But my spin on event management education was that using it as a tool, as a marketing tool, because going to taking marketing in college, you have to have major subjects in advertising, promotions, PR, media buying, and all that. But there was no course on events management, and it's now one of the foundations of any marketing mix is to have your
That's true.
events management, and that's what I was invited to be the associate professor. But I was actually bridging because all of the discipline that I learned came from communication arts. How to
Mhm.
mount a show, how to do, how to script write, how to direct, how to, and I learned all of that. And of course, our community, I worked with a lot of very good directors and I learned from them. And I put all of that together and packaged the course at the time when there were no courses in events management. And I think that the students really appreciate because they have a real world feel. It's not just book based, it's not just theory based, but it's on practical application, especially when it comes to your courses in theater arts, because acting, there's a very, aside from the theoretical approaches that they need to learn, a lot of it is relationship. It's relating to the character, and I'm sure
Yeah.
and I'm sure your professors and you yourself, you're also an actor, can very easily relate to that.
Yeah. Oh, one of our acting teachers, by the way, is Rolly Inocencio. So,
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
wow. I mean,
Yeah.
I got a message right now from Lina. See, she's like, Tita Gracie, he was my professor in Saint Scholastica. Hi, Sir Dennis. And we get this. Michael Williams is watching. Some other friends, Sandro Suarez, all the way from Tagaytay is watching. An
Great, great.
ex-advertising friend of mine, Alan Ruiz from Philippine, from the PR world is watching. So hello to all our viewers out there, and thank you for joining us tonight. And I
I think
certainly
that
will.
our common friend, your guest last week, Marites, is also
Yes,
watching us today. Yeah.
yes, Marites. She is a painter. She did that particular piece in my wall there,
Oh, okay.
and she's actually, yun naman crossover yon. Kasi from HR world, she went into visual arts.
Oh
So
yeah, but
being
she was in theater. I knew her in theater before. Yes,
she did
before
the
she
sound
went
that
to, and then we met in HR and events.
yeah, ako naman from marketing and advertising, I went to the artistic world, and I guess the rest is history, no? So, friends, it's arts education is really a world, a very interesting, very colorful world, no? And it's populated by a lot of very talented people, like our guest tonight, Dennis. And your journey as an artist, as a technical director, as an arts manager and arts educator is really very, very colorful. And over and above that, you still have time to act. You still have time to direct. I mean, I'm unbelievable. Your energy is unbelievable. So we're going to take another break right now. And when we return, we're going to take a closer look at the journey of our guest in his other endeavors, because he's also a technical director and an artistic manager. So we're going to discuss more about the world of arts education with Dennis Marasigan when we return. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this short break.
We'll be back shortly with Tita Gracie. Let's chat with Tita Gracie only here on V81 Radio. Connected ka na ba para laging updated sa mga bagong shows, promos, trending news, viral videos, events, o patok na OPM hits? Just follow us on Facebook at V81 Radio South Manila. Simple lang, itype lang ang letter V81 Radio South Manila. O, di ba madali lang? Kaya i-like at i-follow na. Kabayan, nahuhomesick ka ba? I-download na ang aming mobile app at mag-enjoy sa mga kantang Tatak Pinoy and feel like you're home. The V81 Radio mobile app, available in the App Store and Google Play Store. V81 Radio mobile app, free now, free forever. Doble ang saya sa Season 2 ng Home Not Alone Songs from Home dahil makakasama natin ang top OPM artists from GMA Music. Anthony Rosaldo, Christopher Martin, Sams David, and Golden Cañedo. Kaya tumutok na tuwing Merkules alas 7 ng gabi California Time o tuwing Huwebes alas 10 ng umaga Philippine Time. Home Not Alone Songs from Home Season 2 kasama si Papa Gio. Ako yun. Sa August na, dito lang yan sa V81 Radio, Los Angeles.
Oh, not alone. I am here with you. Though you're far away, I am here to stay. Oh, not alone.
Now back to Let's Chat with Tita Gracie, only here on V81 Radio.
Okay, and we're back. And Let's Chat with Tita Gracie is deep diving into the world of arts education tonight. And we have a very interesting guest, Dennis Marasigan. Let's call him right back into the studio.
Yes, I'm back, Gracie. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dennis. And it's interesting that you have always, I think you've always had one foot in the academic part of the arts, no? I mean, since your career, and you're really a teacher at heart, and you love imparting. What did you really start out as a teacher, or did you practice theater arts first?
I practiced theater arts first, but I grew up in a family of teachers. My parents were teachers. I have aunts and uncles who are teachers. My sister is a teacher. Now my daughter is also a teacher. So we grew up in that kind of an environment. So I suppose it's something that came naturally. It started with just conducting workshops, and then later on, I remember I started teaching practically right after I got my degree. So I was in my 20s when I started teaching, and in effect, I've been teaching on and off like for over 30 years now. And that does not, and that's I'm talking only about the formal teaching, no, of the being in the academy. But other than that, it's like workshops here and there, and
True.
other things. Yeah.
Yes. And also, aside from being a professor, heading the department, do you actually take on some classes aside from heading the theater arts program? What are you directly teaching to your students? Hello?
Gracie, sorry, can you repeat that? Yeah, my line seems to be unstable.
No problem.
Gracie?
My question was, yeah, I'm here. My question was, aside, I know that you had the entire arts program, right? Yeah, you had the entire program, but are there actual classes that you personally handle under the program? Seem to be having some technical difficulties. Are you okay now? Maybe we can check with Dennis. Yeah. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are deep diving into the world of arts education with our guest, Dennis Marasigan, the head of the Theater Arts Program at Meridian International College of Business and Arts located in PGC. And as we have discussed earlier, his school is very, I would say they have a very unique approach to arts education. And there are very interesting methods that they are following or they're doing in their school that has been producing a crop of very interesting and very talented students. And right now, our guest is currently having some internet issues. However, I just want to take this as an opportunity to remind everybody that although our NCR, we are in Metro Manila, is now back on GCQ. I would like to remind everyone that we all have to still follow all the safety protocols and make sure that whenever we go out, we have to follow all of the safety rules. Never go out without a mask and a face shield. And always make sure that you have a bottle of alcohol or sanitizing gel in your bag or in your carry case. And also, please follow social distancing. Our current atmosphere of this pandemic here in NCR is still critical. And in fact, I just learned a few minutes before we went on the show tonight that one of my guests in season 1 succumbed to COVID-19. No, and it is a sad fact that the pandemic is hitting close to home, and we are losing very valuable people. And I would like to take a minute to salute the late Dr. Anen. She was our guest in season 1 with the UP Medical Choir. And I just learned from the choral master that she succumbed to COVID-19. So nakikiramay po on behalf of V81 Radio Worldwide. Kami po ay nakikiramay sa pamilya ni Dr. Karen Senen. Isa sa mga napaka-lively na tao, napaka-creative at she's so giving of her talent, no? So if we can all say prayer for her, nakikiramay po ang V81 Radio sa inyong pamilya at sa napakalungkot na nangyari na she succumbed to COVID-19. And she's the first guest na nangyari po ito, no? So medyo malungkot po kami at sa totoo lang nagulat nung nalaman namin na yun ang nangyari. At kaya ang paalala ko lang po sa lahat ng mga tagapakinig namin sa aming mga audience dito sa Pilipinas and kahit na sa abroad, patuloy po tayong maging safe, patuloy pa rin po tayong mag-ingat, lalo na tuwing lalabas, no? Kasi ever-present danger po ang COVID-19. At wala pa rin pong definitive cure at wala pa rin pong vaccine. So, importante pong alagaan natin ang ating sarili at ating mga minamahal sa buhay. No, hindi po biro ang sakit na COVID-19. In fact, this pandemic has been hitting all over the world. Lahat po ng bansa tinamaan ito, no? So, ang importante po ay maging vigilant po tayo at hindi po tayo mawalan ng loob. Kumapit lang po tayo sa Panginoon at huwag po tayong magpapatalo sa ating kalooban at kumapit lang po tayo sa ating Panginoon. Hindi po niya tayo pababayaan. So kung ready na po ang ating guest sa backstage, andyan na po ba? Ayan na.
Yes,
guest, no? So paalala na po ulit na mag-ingat po tayo lahat. Dennis, we welcome you back. And
it's so frustrating. Actually, this is one of the reasons that we know that our students are confronting, and that's why we decided that it's not going to be required. Otherwise, there will really be some students who are going to be prejudiced just simply because they have faulty connection.
You know, and we in V81 intindihan namin yan kasi pati kami, mga host, minsan ako yung nawawala. No, yung mga guests ko magiging host. O kaya we go. Our technical team naman will just either sasaluhin,
Right,
they'll go
right.
on a date, or they'll play our
Yeah.
OBBCBBs, our ads
Right.
and all that. Whenever this happens, right lang ako, mabuti na lang medyo madaldal ako. At tuloy-tuloy lang ako magsalita. Kasi talagang that's as a reality of our internet connection and the
Right, right.
reality of life as a live stream digital broadcaster. So babalik tayo dun sa ating pinag-uusapan na
Yeah.
yung journey mo as an arts educator, no? Because you have a very, very well-rounded background. I mean, after finishing your BA Theater Arts course in UP, and you joined, you joined several institutions like Cultural Center, and of course, Tanghalang Filipino and all that. Naturally, you get tapped, no, to do workshops and all that because the pool of trained professionals in the artistic world here, really aside from those na aral talaga katulad mo, madami na nagtuturo na hindi talaga nag-aral sa university, pero because of their long experience, their deep experience in the theater world or in the filmmaking world, they get tapped to teach. No, so and you're telling me earlier that your faculty is a combination of practitioners and also some trained, academe in theater arts.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're also practitioners. That's the
Yes,
thing about it.
true,
Right. Yeah.
true. But
My own journey was actually that I was happy that I was invited by UP to teach, but the thing is I was already working with the Cultural Center of the Philippines, so I couldn't take on a full-time position. And I really worked with government for beginning with the CCP. I worked with government for almost 20 years, and so I could only be in the faculty of various schools, either as a part-time or in the case of St. Scholastica's College, I was at the best a half-time professor. No, so
yes,
and it's only now that in a sense I was able to take on more responsibilities in the academe because I'm freelance. No, I've been doing freelance
yes.
work. And if I may just tell you the story of how I got into Mint, no, uh, is that Mint in Taguig is beside the Venice Piazza, and you know that area. There are office buildings in that area, and I think that I came from a meeting with a client in that area, and with my partner at the time for the project, and we were crossing the bridgeway, and I bumped into the late Eugene Villaluz, and so kumustahan
Oh,
kami, yeah, and
Eugene,
yeah,
ganito yung
Eugene. Right. And so what are you doing here? I said, I came from a client meeting. Tapos sabi niya, he came from Mint. And he said he was the head of music and theater at Mint. Ah, okay. And then so okay, we separated, we parted. And then suddenly he turned back. Sabi niya, Dennis, would you like to teach at Mint? Sabi niya ganun. I said, sure. So I go, sure. And it turns out that he was head of music business management and theater only because there was nobody who was qualified or was available to handle theater. So I joined him in the faculty of theater arts, and then the following year they asked me if I could be the head of the theater arts program. However, I was doing a lot of projects at the time. So it was obviously a matter of time before they said that teka muna, we require somebody to do more time here. And good enough that the late Bernardo came into the faculty
yeah.
of MIT. So he
Ano
became the
story pala si Bernie
yeah,
dyan?
not just he became the program head for
Okay.
theater art. And so he brings with him a whole kind of elan, and the students all loved him. Unfortunately, we all know what happened. No, Bernie had succumbed to illness, and then after he passed on, they asked me to take over on a temporary basis, which I did. And then later they said, can you go back and take over it again? But we will ask you now to put in more time into it. I said, okay, I think I'm now ready. I've been sufficiently and mentally prepared. And I knew already the workaround. So I managed to combine teaching at Mint and doing work on film and television. So there was a time, and that I think for a couple of years actually, that I would do a television show on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and then I would have classes on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So
Yes. Well, it's really true that you wear a lot of hats, Dennis, and I know that for sure because you, aside from being on top of like the marketing of CCP and being artistic director of Tanghalang Pilipino, your association with with other groups like Phil Stage can be very very demanding, no? And in the past few years, let's just zero in on Field Stage because that alone, I mean, how many theater companies are under Field Stage right now?
yeah, but no, the thing is, I'm no longer with Phil Stage. No, when I
How
left Tanghalang
long?
Filipino, when I left Tanghalang Filipino, I had to leave Phil Stage. But I'm happy with Phil Stage because there were 9 groups in Phil Stage when I was president of Phil Stage, and that was the time that I started and I initiated the Gawad Buhay. And it's good now that there are now 16 groups in
Ah,
Phil Stage, and that,
wow.
the industry has accepted Gawad Buhay, and it's I feel like a father
Yes,
whose kid has grown up and doesn't need me anymore. When in fact, when it was
yes,
starting up, I had to talk to everybody, like Michael Williams. I had to convince him to Bart Gingona and Audie, and then finally they relented and agreed to it. And I'm glad that now that Audie actually is the president now of Phil Stage, and he's been
of course.
doing a great job of shepherding the Phil Stage. The other thing that I was not intending to be a part of actually is the National Live Events Coalition.
Yes,
I got into it because Artist Welfare Project, of which I was a founding incorporator, was got involved because of the fundraising efforts, no, and because of the pandemic. At a certain point, all these fundraising activities, the Bayanihan Musikahan and the open house by Phil Stage and the Split and the Ticket to Me, needed a conduit by which to give the assistance to the displaced workers.
yes,
Good enough that we had founded Artist Welfare Project 12 years
right.
ago, and our mandate, as stated in our articles of incorporation, met exactly what was needed. We were able to accept donations and to give them
Wow.
out as assistance. So artist
Yes,
welfare became very much involved. And then I was telling you the what happened with the National Life Events Coalition. It suddenly had to come together, and so in a
yes,
sense, because artist welfare was part of the NLEC, then I got recruited also to work into it, and maybe in a sense what you were saying about all these things finding their way, is that because of my long years in government and having worked in various capacities, and also because of the work that I had done in helping craft and push legislation in the arts, because of all the efforts that the NLEC is doing in relation to the different government agencies, that in a sense became my task. So in the National Live Events Coalition, there are people from the wedding events industry, from the activations industry, but we have people, and we need to do certain things in the for safety protocols. We need to do something with the DOT, and so we've
yes,
we've divided we've divided the work, and it just in a sense, it just was, in a sense, it was also easy for me that I became the de facto, or it's turning out to be the one who takes care of helping out in all this legislation and policy matters. So, and I'm just very happy to do that and to do my part, and hopefully as things progress, that the NLEC at the moment, NLEC PH, whose role it is and who feels that its responsibility is to help the displaced workers, will later on become the group that will represent most of the stakeholders, if not the entire industry that we now call the live events industry.
yes. It's a very, for the longest time I've been part of that live events industry since the mid 80s. Now I've been managing events on the corporate side as an
Right.
employee handling events. and then also as a freelancer and as an entrepreneur. And I do agree that it's largely unrepresented segment of the industry of the artistic and or the production industry, no?
Right.
Because people really move around. That's the nature of the gig economy, so to
Right.
speak. No?
Right.
The gig
Yeah.
economy. People
At
move
saka,
around. Yeah, go ahead.
and then it also got us access into in terms of determining and finding out the effect of the pandemic into our industry. And so and with the statistics that we have, we're actually able to go and knock on doors of the different government agencies, tell them, hey, this is how many we are, and this is how much we normally contribute to the economy, and
Yeah,
because of the pandemic, this is how much we're losing, and the government is losing because of this. So
yeah,
with hope
actually,
that you're going to help us.
in my lecture, whenever I teach events management, I have an idea. I give them a picture of the different sectors that are affected or that impact the events industry, no, or and vice versa. For instance, I will just ask you one question. All the malls, or if not most of the major malls like SM and Ayala, they have event spaces or theaters. All hotels have ballrooms and function rooms. All theaters like Cultural Center, RCDC, and all the other major theaters are around. No? Can you imagine all of these spaces, the builders, the developers devoted a tremendous amount of investment to put those theaters in, to put the technical aspects, the lights, the sound system, the architectural, the sound design, etc. But nobody talks about the impact of that. And these installations serve as anchors of malls. Like, for instance, SMX is now an anchor facility of all SM malls, the big ones
Right.
at the least.
Right. Right.
So, in terms of the events world, the impact of having these venues around shows you that the demand has been there for a long time, that the events industry really contributes to the income of these commercial spaces, hotels, resorts, etc. And if you zero in on just one sector, let's say the wedding sector, how much business they provide the hotels and resorts and tourism industry.
Right.
No, so if there's a way to quantify all of that, I mean, we're going to come out with some staggering amount. And
I'll tell you how much.
how much?
220, 220 billion a year from the live events industry. About 70% of that comes from the wedding and event sector and social event
Yes,
sector.
it's really what I would call the iceberg, because the people just see the tip, but the depth, what's underneath the water, what people do not see, are people like you and me who work months before the events are mounted or the production is mounted. And it's interesting because a lot of the people in our industry, well, in the events industry and you in the theater industry, and in a sense, in Anele, but these are allied industries. So we work with the same pool of actors, dancers, choreographers, scriptwriters. A lot of them, are not represented, and I'm so happy that NLEC, as
Yeah,
well as the Artist Welfare
project.
Fund project, Artist Welfare Project, and people like Tof de Venecia in government are helping us to
Right.
be recognized,
Yeah.
because it's about time. It's about time, and even in the academy,
Actually, we just had an almost 3 hour meeting this morning on a Sunday morning with Tov, talking about policy for the live events and the creative industry sector. So that's really, you're right. Tov is really gung ho about leading and making sure that the industry is helping itself and also helping the greater society and the economy.
yes, the contribution of our industries, guys, largely has gone unnoticed but
Yeah,
we provide jobs to so many people, and all the artists and all the creative, the audience
yeah,
will
two,
even will
200
recognize
200,000 people a year.
that's
Yeah.
200,000 people who attend events a year. Wow,
Yeah,
I would
200,000
imagine.
people a year in all the events. There are 40, as of latest count, there are 40,000 establishments that are involved in live events.
Wow, it's really a
Right,
huge
right.
industry.
And so when people are talking about where the theater graduates are going to go to, um, I mean, these are national and nationwide events. That there are students I know from some theater schools that have never graduated because they're so good already in what they're doing that they're already very much in demand in the business, and not
Yes,
necessarily as actors, but mainly also because of the as a backstage staff. So,
yes,
uh,
yes.
yeah,
Well, that's very interesting because we carve our own path, and I'm a member of that group. No, luckily I got my communication arts education in LaSalle, but even in the communication arts community, the event subject is not taught as a formal course in
yeah. Before
in
it
every
was not
curriculum.
right.
They are still stuck to the old formula of film, radio, television, production, no? And then the
Yeah.
others would be writing, film theory, etc., etc. But events management as a discipline, the live events management as a discipline, madaming pwedeng, that's our complete world, no,
Right.
of of disciplines involved, because andyan ang sports events management, andyan yung corporate events, andyan yung learning events, the
Yeah.
trainings, and all that.
you,
And
you know
now,
when we meet in the live events, when we have meetings in the live events, I'm actually learning from the others because to be honest, I'm not very aware of like so weddings and social events. It's
there's
like
you.
I've done some weddings, but not in the way that there are members of the core team of the National Live Events Coalition, that it's their major business, and they do organize weddings and social events not just in the country. They're
Yes,
actually hired to do events outside of the country in other parts of Asia and
yes.
even Europe.
Yes, yes. Well, it's an eye opener, no, for us in the business, because I feel that in the realm of arts education and production management, that's maybe an unexplored area to include in the curriculum, or maybe in the business, because it's really something that I don't know if I'm hinting here, but it's something that maybe somewhere down the line, an institution like NAIT could pioneer. I mean, I think that's, it will be a very interesting course to have, no? And you can
Actually,
pioneer.
we now have a subject called production management, where we include event management as part of the topics discussed. Oh,
Naku,
so
ang
production
galing.
management. So it's production management, not just for a theater production, but all types of
Live event.
events. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So, in terms of uh, crafting the curriculum, no, balik tayo doon, ano, because I know that it's being in the theater arts, what other courses are being offered by MINT to, let's say, the interested students or youth out there who are thinking of carving the niche, their career path in the arts course, no? Well, aside
We
from
have
theater,
Well, we have a course in music, but you'll be interested. No, it's actually music business management. So
wow,
you learn the rudiments of music, including all the technical aspects of music. But the degree is actually a business management course in music. So it's strictly speaking, it's under the management department. No, and then of course, since we consider ourselves like a business technology and arts college, so we have degree programs in marketing, in IT, in film among the arts. We have a degree in film, and now we're also beginning to explore and study how we're offering short courses now on fashion design, and we hope to develop it into a full scale degree program in fashion design. Yeah.
Naku, to all of the youth, to the young people out there who are probably in the senior high school track right now, and you want to consider or thinking about having formal arts education in theater, in music business, because that's pretty unique, having a
Right.
formal program in music business. Check out Mint. So,
You
it's
know,
actually interesting.
Gracie, we actually have senior high school courses. Huh?
Oh, okay.
So as early as senior
Okay.
high, they can join us already.
Oh, interesting kasi right now, the senior high somehow is already integrated into the collegiate program because you have to choose your track no, as early as
Right.
senior high, right?
So we do offer a general education track, but we also offer a business track, and we also offer the arts and design track. And when you do the arts and design, you can actually choose specific subjects already that will pertain to the subject or the area that you want to explore. So if you're an arts and design student and you want to study film, then your electives are already in film, even in your senior high.
That's great. I mean, how I wish I mean, if I were in senior high school right now, I would be in Mint because this is the one that I really wanted to be in as early as high school. I really wanted to be in communication arts, in theater arts, and production management. That was really my line
Oh,
of interest, and I'm sure that a lot of young people out there are curious, are interested to learn more about Mint. So, is there a number or a website where they can go
oh,
and
if you just search Mint College, you'll land right into our search categories, and then it's easy enough to find Mint. One parent actually said that the reason she found Mint was that when she searched for a theater school, Mint was right there on top. No, so
wow,
it's fairly easy to find us.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
right.
And very accessible. You're right in the heart of BGC near
That's our scene that we had to separate. So the in McKinley Hill we have our senior high school, and then the college the college students, we moved to a new campus in
okay,
Ortigas East. Ortigas East is
okay,
where we are. So we've two campuses. I mean, because technically, senior high school is under the Department of Education, and then college is under
yes,
CHED. So we
yes,
had to
yes,
separate that. But our teachers actually, weave over and swing over, and then we have integrative activities so that the senior high can actually integrate with our college students. So, for example, our theater company, our theater group in Mint is actually composed of both senior high school students and college students.
oh, that's great. Then there's already interaction with the
Right.
college students and they are going into production. Which brings me to what will happen now that all the theaters are closed and they have no theater productions going? What will happen to the community activities because walang theater? In fact, I'm so intrigued. Like, how was Virgin Lab Fest? Kasi they did all of their productions online. Kamusta na
Right.
ang mga estudyante ngayon?
They're being very creative. And then, like last semester, as I said, now we went online already, and then there were some classes and there were some students opted to come up with the final production. So, for example, one of our classes is contemporary dance, and the students in the production came up with their own dance video, similar to what you find now on the internet, and it was all very
Yes.
well, almost professional. I would say almost professionally done. You wouldn't think that it was a final project for a bunch of students. So they highlighted the thing about it was that it was fun for me to watch because I knew the students, so it was highlighting the best that they can do and were able to hide the things that they were not very good at doing, but it was a very enjoyable video. And so that's
Yeah.
one of the things that we're doing. So and in some of the acting courses and improvisation courses and voice courses that we had last semester, we had to require the students to just record themselves, which brings me now to something that we're doing. And if you'll allow me, Gracie,
Yes,
Mint,
please.
Mint College and Mint Teatro are participating in what is now called the Teatro Europa. It's a theater festival that's organized by the European Union. And I must say that it's actually something that should have been thought of many years ago. And the idea behind it is that various universities and colleges are tapped by the European Union, and then they are matched with a play from a particular country of the European Union.
Wow.
Right. So, for example, in Mint College is going to be doing a play by a Polish playwright, Tango by Sławomir Mroczek, and then there are schools that will be doing a Molière from France.
Yeah.
Another group is the group that I am also helping in Mapua. They're doing a Schiller from Germany. Another group is doing
Yeah.
something from Austria. Another group is doing something from Spain. So in effect, it's really like
Wow.
a festival of
That's a dream. Yeah, what's
European
the theater
plays.
festival?
Right.
Yeah.
However, the planning for that took place before the pandemic, and European
Oh,
Union was trying to hold out the possibility that it was still going to be live. And then when the pandemic seemed definite that it's going to take longer, they asked the theater groups if we were willing to do it online. And now that we've seen how it has been done in Virgin Lab Fest, and actually there are also other productions that have gone online. Tanghalang Pilipino has also done like 3 productions that
yes.
went online and specifically done for online performance. I'm not talking about the productions that simply were streamed. And then we have examples of other groups from other countries have also done similar things. So we said, okay, we might as well do it, experiment with it, and also it gives our students an opportunity to be more creative. And I've been happy with the what the students of Mint and also with the students of Mapua have been doing, and they're very much involved in it and trying to push themselves into doing something that they've never done before. It's really something
Wow.
new. So we're very hopeful that that something will come out of it. And mind you, and I kept telling the students, um, let's not be afraid to fail. Let's try to do what
Yes.
we can. It's the first time it's being done. The festival is being done for the first time, but it's also the first time that we're doing this online. So what have we to lose, right?
Yes,
What
the
have we to lose?
dream is
If we
there.
if we don't do well, that means that okay, there's something that we can improve on and do something the next time if we get invited again. If we do well, then that means, oh, all
Yes.
right, that it was a
And
satisfaction that you get.
yeah, and I'm here to help you guys if you need some promotion. And I hope I can feature Teatro Europa in my
All right,
show
I will
one
I
day
will I will tell the people in charge. I can tell you, the performances
because
will start
yeah,
streaming online on September 4, and then every week, one or two colleges will be performing or be showing their performance, and then it goes round, and then there's another performance at the end of September, and goes another round. Yeah.
I think now you have planted a very interesting seed in my crazy head, and maybe I'll have one dedicated Sunday just to feature the productions of Teatro Europa.
Oh yeah.
It's a groundbreaking effort. I mean, and
Yes. Yes.
it's a groundbreaking effort, and it's a first. And I would love to have the scoop on that. Dennis,
Right.
maraming
Uh,
salamat.
and you realize, and this is something that my mentor, the late Tony Mabesa, was always saying, we can never have enough of the classics. The reason they're classics
Yeah,
is because there is something that anybody, even if you don't know theater at all, but when you read it or watch the production of a play, one of the classics, particularly those in Europe that we don't normally get to see much of, because
yeah,
much of our theater fare is aside from our regular Filipino productions are productions of hits from West End and Broadway, and almost
True.
always in the English language. So the plays in
True.
Teatro Europa, I have to say though, are going to be performed in English, but at least they are translations of works by other playwrights other than the American or English playwrights.
Naku, mga kaibigan, abangan po natin ito at napaka-interesting po. Itong project ni Dennis Marasigan na Teatro Europa. In the month of September, I think we're going to be hearing more about this, and I have an idea to feature Teatro Europa in one of my Sundays of the month of September, because it's a very unique production or a challenge for our young theater professionals to be part of this. And you're looking at school theater groups, no, that are going to
Yes.
be
So
participating.
the schools
They're going to
are
be professional groups. Yeah.
Yes, the schools are, and I have to, I think it should be good for me to name them. Finally, I memorized them. So, Mint College is one of the schools. Mapua University, University of Makati, Arellano University, uh, um Colegio de San Letran is part of it,
Yeah,
and then
Letran.
Rizal Technological University, and oh my gosh, I missed one, and the University of the East. So those are
Mm.
the seven
Very good.
seven schools that are going to be performing.
That's so
It's from
interesting.
seven different countries. So you have Molière, you have Tirso de Molina, you have Schiller, you have Mrozek, you have the Austrian playwright whose name I cannot pronounce. So
And I hope we can invite together with you one of the EU
I'm sure they
guys.
will welcome it. I'm sure they will
Yeah,
welcome it. Yeah,
I
yeah.
would really love to do that. And ladies and gentlemen, our guest is really there's such a wealth of subjects that we can discuss with Dennis Marasigan. And initially, I was only looking at arts education, but because our friend here is just a tremendous, if there's a multitasker in the theater industry, it's our guest tonight. And Dennis Marasigan has been a fantastic professional who has devoted his entire life to make our arts landscape more colorful and to groom the next generation of our theater professionals. So I'd like to bring back Dennis one more time for his last or parting shot, and maybe some last. We're in the last 5 minutes, Dennis. So if there's anything else you'd like to plug, go ahead.
I'd like to say that to speak more in general terms, that I've encountered students who would like to pursue a career in theater or to take a higher course in theater, and they're either prevented or not necessarily encouraged to do theater. And I keep saying that, of course, you cannot go against what your parents want for you. The best that you can do is to talk to them about it. But in the end, if you're still under their influence and direction, of course, you have to follow your parents. But I'd like to state a case for arts education, and it's been proven that arts education is not only something that completes the human spirit and brings out the humanity in all of us. But it's been proven that the skills you learn in arts educations are skills that you bring to everything that you do outside. So for example, forbearance, tolerance, communication, discipline, these are things that are matter of factly things that are required of anybody who undertakes arts education. And these are the same things that we need in our society right now. We need more
True.
tolerance, we need more forbearance, we need more communication, we need more humanity. And
More
so
humanity.
right, and
Yes.
so if there's anything that I'd like to say, just not to look too unkindly on arts education,
Yeah.
because for all you know, it's what keeps us being human in this age of pandemic, and in this age of intolerance, and of this age of apathy, of this age of a lot of what's the word for it, when people have the temerity to and impunity to do things that normal human beings would not do if they were better human beings in the first place.
Yes. And we started out talking about the question, is arts education still relevant during this time? And my response, as well as your response, is yes. Not just because
Definitely.
it's a definite yes. So, sa mga magulang na nandyan, pag may inclination yung mga anak mo na pumasok sa larangan ng teatro, to be part of the theater world, I think it would be great to encourage them. Kasi not everybody can be bankers or lawyers or doctors or businessmen or, but we need our artists. We need our writers, our dancers, our filmmakers, our production people like Dennis and myself. Because this world, this world is, what would life be without art, Dennis?
Right.
Yeah, so on that note,
Definitely.
please,
Well said, well said. And thank you very much, Gracie, for having me.
it's such a pleasure, Dennis. Maraming salamat on
My
behalf
pleasure.
on behalf of V81 Radio and Let's Chat with Tita Gracie. Dennis Marasigan po ang ating guest tonight. Maraming salamat. And till our next encounter and our chat here in Let's Chat with Tita Gracie, ako po si Gracie Venezuela, bidding you good night and have a great week ahead. Keep safe, everybody. Remember, we're still on GCQ and we really need to be mindful of daily lives because we're still under the atmosphere of pandemic. And I wish you all a very good evening and may God be with you for every day of the week to come. Thank you and have a good evening.
Leading personalities, representative insights, relevant current issues all together in a meaningful and delightful conversations as your social barometer. Let's chat with Tita Gracie. Let's chat with Tita Gracie. Sundays, 6 p.m. Hosted by breakthrough millennial boomer Gracie Venezuela. Let's chat with Tita Gracie. Only here on V81 Radio. Tunog Pinoy, Tatak Pinoy, your all hits, all Pinoy digital radio station in South Manila. This is V81 Radio.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan. Kahit nasaan ka man, ito'y mapapak